Hi guys, this is the last video for Booklet 1. So keep in mind there'll be fewer videos for Booklet 2 because I've already covered the open response question and the editing multiple choice. So you'll see fewer videos for Booklet 2 because there are some tasks that are duplicated in the second booklet. Between Booklet 1 and 2, you'll have a break. You'll receive a nutritious snack, and if you're finished earlier than other students, you may want to go around and walk, stretch your legs, all of that good stuff. So this is the last task, and I would say possibly the most important, not because it has the most points involved, but because statistically students that pass the main idea, they are successful on the literacy test. Why that is, I'm not totally sure, but students that get this do well on the test. And keep in mind, you're looking at earning at least 300 points to pass. How that is calculated, I do not know, but you'll receive a letter in June that has your name on it, what you scored on it, and whether you were successful or not. If you're not successful on the literacy test, you can write it a second time, or you can take the literacy class, OLC 4.0. I would suggest that you absolutely write it twice before doing that. So the main idea. This is on page 36. This would be a sample of a text that was related to history, geography, or science. So you'll be given an image, and I like to read if there's any sort of source or credit for the image. I like to read that because that might give you details. And it does not have a title. And that's sort of the tricky part. And I want you to think about what the selection might be entitled to help give you an idea of the main idea. So I would study the image, I would read the text, and I would go ahead and answer the multiple choice, and then the main idea. So that's a lot for that one paragraph, and that's why I think this one's really important. So the question will always be, for the 6-line answer, state the main idea of the selection and provide one specific detail. And as you look at the sample answers, I want you to tell me if there's one specific detail in the response that scores 30 out of 30. There is a sample marking guide for that, and there are answers for the multiple choice question. This is an example of a time where you may want to read those questions first before you do the reading. I would suggest that you do the reading, read the questions. Because you have time, do the reading again, and then answer both the multiple choice and the 6-line response. The 6-line response is scored out of 30, and there are 6 points for the multiple choice questions. So if you add that, that's 9 essentially points, 30 plus however these multiple choice questions are valued at. Okay? So read the questions. In what way is competitive ice sculpting different from an Olympic sporting event? Okay, so that gives you an idea. Competitive ice sculpting. 2, quotation from 4 to 5, contribute. What does that person's quotation contribute? So you want to take a look. It says lines 4 and 5. So that would be something where I would read line 3, 4, 5, and 6 before I responded to this. So this is where it might be helpful to read the questions before, because you're going to say to yourself, oh yeah, I'm looking for this person, I'm looking for their quote, or these lines, or this word, or this dash. Okay, sometimes it does ask you about that. Why do surfacing kingfisher and the birth of the bluebird appear in italics? This is a question that relies to some extent on prior knowledge. What things are italicized? Thoughts? Titles? Okay, you could answer this, but I would recommend reading the selection first and only changing your answer if you have new information. What purpose does the phrase, but most important, serve in line 9? Again, go back. You're going to have to pay attention to line 9, 4, and 5 as well. Which events occurred first with respect to the birth of the bluebird sculpture? And what is the best meaning for spectacle as used in line 1? You may know that word spectacle. It's synonym here. You could answer that right away if you felt confident. But again, I would change your response only after finding new information. So my recommendation to you is to pause the video now, read the paragraph, study the image, and then answer these questions. Okay, I'm assuming you've paused the video and you've answered these. I've given you some review for answering multiple choice questions on page 39. And then at the bottom of page 40, these are the answer for the multiple choice questions. You can take those up now and give yourself a mark out of 6. You're looking for 4 correct answers out of 6 for a successful response or a pass. Keep that in mind. Now, the main idea. This is a really tricky one. So, plan below, transfer onto the lines, and if you are using assistive technology or writing this on a computer, you are typing 4 lines of typed text, 6 in handwriting. On page 41, I have included the assessment rubric for that, the descriptors. So you could have a blank, nothing is written, off topic or incorrect, no answer or misunderstanding of the reading. And then code 10, minimal reading comprehension. Code 20, some reading comprehension, but perhaps vague or irrelevant details. And code 30, considerable reading comprehension, specific relevant details and ideas. So that's interesting. The question asks you for 1 detail, although the assessment criteria is looking for specific and relevant details. So this is an example of where I would always do more than less. Just like the open response, or just like the answer that you gave for the news report, for that question about Montreal's graffiti, use multiple details to support your response. I think it's always a good idea to do a minimum of 2. So let's take a look at 10, 20, and 30. So code 10, one of the main ideas would be that ice carving has been a cultural Olympic event at the Olympics and Paralympics Art Festival. Is that the main idea? No, that's explaining some details. 20, a main idea of this selection is that the ice sculpting is considered to be both a sport and an art. A spart, I believe they refer to it in this selection. Some of the problems that I have with this final main idea is that the readings are so boring. That's a problem. I would find that that may be the case as well. But again, they're just trying to expose Ontario students to things that they may not know about. So I would try to take some value from that if you can. And then the student has used a direct quotation. The selection states, sport, art. With its challenge, skill, beauty, and risk, ice carving is both. Line 18. And again, they put a nice citation in there, but they're missing that 3rd step. As I explained to you guys in the news report, you always want to make sure that you're connecting the details to the main idea. Do that 3rd step there. So let's look at code 30. This is on page 43. Ice sculpting is a physically demanding form of art that is also viewed as a sport due to 1, endurance and strength needed. Ice is heavy and the tools used as such, chainsaws, carving drills, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got the 20 hours, and then look at that, read that last sentence. Ice sculpting is hard work that needs to be appreciated. So they've connected the details, the main idea. Why is it a sport and an art? Because it's difficult, it's physically demanding. Great. So go back. The question says, state a main idea of the selection and provide 1 specific detail. So for a code 30, is it 1 specific detail? No, it is not. The student has, I don't know, 4 details there. They've listed a bunch of things that you need for it. Endurance and strength, that would be 2 more. So make sure that you have lots of details here. And keep in mind, this is only content. It's just ideas. It's not spelling, grammar, punctuation, or as they refer to as conventions. So you do not need to go back and edit this. Just make sure you have main idea, details, 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 and a sentence to connect that all back together. So this is the end of booklet 1. We'll start booklet 2 in the next video. Thanks, guys.